to put the entire set, put all of them in jail first. After 71 years, have we achieved anything? Have we achieved anything? We are in the same rut again. We are in a deep shithole. Progress. Ruin this fucking place.
If you've made it to the top using sinister means, pat yourself on the back. Staying there isn't easy though. What with all these pesky critics and opponents always trying to challenge your position and take everything you work so hard for away from you. Now we can't have that. Here are some tools I'm sure you'll find useful if you're an aspiring corrupt politician. Why accept responsibility for your actions and show some semblance of accountability when you can defer criticism elsewhere? Our officials all seem to have taken the same masterclass on how to defer blame and absolve themselves of all wronghood.
Don't blame yourself, blame genetics, blame your parents, blame God, blame evolution, the apes, not yourself. Never yourself, bro.
You haven't completely failed to eradicate corruption like you promised. You had to do twice the work cleaning up the mess from the previous administration.
රට විනාශ කරපු මිනිස්සු ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයෙන් නැති කරපු මිනිස්සු සුදුවැන් සංස්කෘතියෙන් මේ රටේ මුළු මහත් ජනතාව බීතියට පත් කරපු මිනිස්සු මේ රටේ කෝටි 9 ලක්ෂයක ආර්ථික අර්බුදය තුල කෝටි ප්‍රකෝටි ගණනක් හොරකම් කරපු මිනිස්සු මේ රටේ වංචාව දූෂණය මේ රටේ ඉතිහාසයේ අසීමිතව කිසිම කාලයක නාපු විදිහට.
While it is true that the mistakes of previous governments can affect your own, Sri Lankan politicians love going back to their textbook blame strategies, like Mr. Ranil, who took his shot at Mahinda Rajapaksa, blaming him for leaving the country with high levels of debt while discussing the bond scam. Whatever the validity of his claims, one must wonder whether the sins of the father are to be laid upon his child. Former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake also took a page out of his premier's book and hit back at Labour Minister Senaviratne, who was questioning him on the losses incurred by the EPF during the bond scam. Without answering the question, he changed the subject to an unrelated loss incurred by the Ceylon Electricity Board when Senaviratne was minister, as if to suggest that incident had a direct impact on the losses made by the EPF. Even when blame cannot be transferred neatly, our glorious readers are more than willing to throw Hail Marys in an attempt to redirect outrage anywhere else.
So I have told the media they have to be very responsible. Sir. Now I told the media, you can criticize me as much as you want, but don't criticize my opinions, my character, my decisions, or my policies.
Suppression of media and policing of public opinion is a hallmark of any great dictatorship, and our public servants seem to be aroused by the idea of an authoritarian dictatorship. By declaring that allegations leveled against them threaten national security, they are, after all, the state, they are able to silence critics and transform themselves into victims.
To create racial disharmony, problems for the national security.
There's a lot of leeway in the penal code to guarantee that a wide range of assertions can fall under the criteria of creating panic, causing danger to public order, exciting dissatisfaction. So you can be creative with how you interpret this code and deal with the threats presented before you. You can arrest doctors for voicing their concerns over increasing COVID patients at hospitals, university students for claiming the existence of special VIP quarantine centers, how far-fetched, and you can do all this without a warrant.
There are so many arrests that are being made under the guise of fake news.
The path has already been cleared for you.
Fake news, news that are not accurate, news that are not true on social media will be arrested without a warrant.
Of course, it's only fake news if the statement in question is not in alignment with your political interests.
Only arrest people who are critical of the government and not people who support the government and still post fake news. We saw a certain individual claiming to be a doctor coming out and saying, I've found a cure for COVID-19. At the end of the day, it was proved that this is not a cure for COVID-19. So would that be spread of misinformation? Was this man arrested?
In addition to all this, you can also use the many media entities at your disposal to manufacture your own fake news, drowning out independent news outlets, ensuring that your voice is heard the loudest.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
When things are starting to get out of control, it's important to drive some fear into the hearts of those who might stand in your way. Journalists who openly come after you are a serious liability, as they can cause a lot of damage and punch holes in the public image you work tirelessly to craft. Blackmail is also a brilliant strategy of deterrence because you only need to make an example out of a few opponents, after which the rest will either get the message or find themselves in the back of a government-issued vehicle. The former Solicitor General Dias Wickramasinghe was appointed as chairman to the Commission of Bribery and Corruption in 2015. She was in a perfect position to crack down on some of the largest corruption cases in the country and even managed to nab President Sirisena's chief of staff in a sting operation. This obviously didn't sit well with the suspects of said cases, so they concocted a plot to release doctored audio recordings of her with a person involved in one of her cases, incriminating her. Her post was stripped before even a preliminary hearing could be held. Her name was cleared on the 22nd of July 2021 after 2 years of investigation. She retired a week later.
Biggest race-by-race man in our parliament, Silanka Sumitipala. The biggest drug dealer in our parliament, from Nigambu side. I have a court case against me, so I don't want to mention his name. The biggest ethanol importers in our parliament. Some members killed more than 10 people. There are cases against that. Maybe he's green, maybe he's blue, maybe he's yellow, maybe he's red, maybe he's UNP, JVP, Hello Rumea, Poduperamona, Pohottua. He's a thief.
Even if these individuals who oppose you are off the political platform, you can still find ways to dispose of them with eerie efficiency.
We here in Sri Lanka have been seeing a rise in the number of deaths in police custody in recent days.
These may have been men who served you well in the past, but when their time comes, you need to let go.
Notorious underworld gang leader Markandre Madhush was killed this morning in a shootout.
Dead men tell no tales. Manipulating public perception is an art on its own. People can get very emotionally responsible to stories of injustice, so it's your job to give them a better story. Sometimes it's nice to take a break from selling your country and sell an idea instead. You can offer all kinds of explanations, excuses that not only absolve you of the sins of which you are accused, but also paint you in the best possible light. And of course, as previously mentioned, resorting to blame is never a bad option.
අර සභාපතිතුමනි අද බැඳුම්කර කොමිසමේ කියලා තියෙනවා සුජීව සේනසිංහ ඇමතුමා 47 වතාවක් අර්ජුන ඇලෝසිස්ට කතා කරා කියලා දුරකථනයෙන්
ඔයාගේ තාත්තා ගැහුවා ගිහිල්ලා අපි කතා කරන්නේ හරිද ඔයාගේ තාත්තා ගැහුවා ගිහිල්ලා තමයි ඔයා තාමද ගෙවල් අරගෙන.
You can also take the opportunity to pat yourself on the back and change the story to all the great things your party managed to achieve. After denying all allegations, of course.
And what did he tell to the parliament? There was nothing wrong. There was absolutely nothing wrong with this.
Now, at times, you may need to perform mental gymnastics to protect and transform yourself into a victim of an admittedly hellish political climate. If your points are presented eloquently enough and you have a long, illustrious career behind you, people may even start to believe your side of the story. You also need to provide assurances that whatever happened was a complete non-issue and downgrade a massive conspiracy into a mere inconvenience.
And several members of his party are going on saying, look, there's 12 billion inside the central bank, it's being held, you recover that, there's no loss.
And then there are some reports that says, oh, it's not a scam at all, it wasn't so much of a loss as such, it's only kind of almost a notional loss.
And the play of words is like, it's not a loss, it's a potential loss.
Now, if you've established plausible deniability well, you should find yourself being able to provide a very reasonable sounding explanation as to why you did what you did. The sugar tax was slashed to benefit the consumer. Wink wink.
That is merely an amendment in the tax policy. This has been misinterpreted.
Or better yet, plead ignorance. Now that wouldn't be too hard of a sell.
We were hoodwinked. It is a lesson for us.
Oh, and please make sure everyone gets the memo.
We have to concede that consumers have not benefited through the reduction in taxes. Therefore, a loss has occurred in this instance.
You don't have to do all of the text mentioned above, just enough to keep the narrative unfolding eternally. Remember, if you repeat the story enough times, maybe even you will start to believe it. If all else fails and you've really pissed off the entire nation, this is going to require some drastic action. Someone is going to have to pay, even if only marginally and for a short time. Whole nation on your back about your direct role in one of the largest financial scams of the decade, you may be unconstitutionally removed from your position in shame. Not to worry. get caught with your pants down clearly accepting a bribe, you may be charged, but you can put those profits you made over the years and hidden safely for a rainy day to good use and pay your 5 million rupee bail to get released within the week. International community putting pressure on you to bring your loyal murdering friend to justice, you may have to let them be sentenced to death. Now, if you rig the system well enough, you can pardon them just 5 years later. Oh, and try pardoning them with a bunch of other minor offenders so nobody notices. And while you're at it, promote them for their dedication. Remember, loyalty and dedication must always be rewarded.
Now, you accuse me of breaking the rules, and I tell you, I am playing by the rules. The very rules that you and I all agreed upon. I'm guilty as hell, and so are all you. Yes, the system is corrupt, but you wanted a guardian at the gate like me, and why? Because you know I will do whatever it takes.
It's like when everyone is doing, there's nothing wrong, like, you know. Everybody doing. Like.
ලංකාවේ ඉහළදම් පහළට මුදලට යට වෙලා ඉන්නේ මුදල් ආර්ථිකයකට අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්නේ මුදල් මත තමයි මිනිස්සු සියලු දේ කරන්නේ.
Some people, many people believe that to get something done from a government institution, there is a mandatory requirement to pay a certain bribe. That is just how things are done.
I want people here who have not paid a bribe to the municipality or to the Pradeshiya Sabhava or to some government agency to get a job done. Stand up.
This culture of corruption is accepted by citizens because it is a reflection of how we operate, and if we continue to do so, we will continue to pay the price. This problem cannot and will not be eradicated from the top down.
You accuse me, you accuse yourself. If you can't stand up, shut up, shut up. If you can't stand up. If you're serious, don't do it again. If you're going around paying your damn local government guy money to get your plan passed, what kind of bullshit are you coming and telling me here? It's easy to point the finger. It's difficult not to pay that bribe. So before we talk about corruption again, let us first not be corrupt ourselves.
Do we even deserve better leadership when we ourselves disregard morality and ethics at every given chance?
If you like this video, please like it. And if you're curious about these kinds of topics, subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.